Hello, everyone, and welcome to another discussion in our community of the Music Technology Group for the Georgia Department of Education community. I'm so excited to be back with you for this is round number 4 for this year. I hope you found that the other sessions have been helpful. I'm glad we're starting to be able to generate some discussion based on those different sessions that we've been able to share together. So thanks for being involved in our community and sharing your ideas and thoughts. So again, the whole idea here is that we've got a place to come to ask questions of one another and share ideas. I hope that these things that I'm sharing are sparking ideas and that they're things that you're interested in. And today's topic is going to be arts advocacy and community engagement with your music technology classroom. It's a little bit deeper topic maybe than the ones that we've ventured into thus far, but I hope that you'll find them useful and helpful, and maybe they'll challenge the way you think about your music technology classroom just a little bit. So I want to start off with the idea that we're all in this together. Music technology is not a widely accepted thing or a widely happening thing at this point in time in the arts community. I'm kind of excited that this idea is spreading. So we're right now advocating for ourselves and sharing the idea that this is possible, and more than that, it's possible that it's valid. In the creative economy that's currently running in the state of Georgia, the movie industry is booming. It's finally the creative economy in Georgia is bigger than the agricultural market for money made for the state of Georgia each year. That actually happened several years ago as the movie industry's moved in. And the thing now is, like, we need workers in the state of Georgia to keep the music production, the music recording, and the music everything side of the industry inside the state of Georgia. The tax benefits are certainly here for the creative industry. We just have to supply the workers. Well, you and I are the ones that are going to supply those workers for the state of Georgia. The students that are in our class now are going to be the future of the movie post-production music side in the state of Georgia. Now, there are also some pretty cool tax breaks that go into just the music industry. So I suspect that before long, the music industry in Atlanta is going to grow even more than what it already is, which is a great sign that we are the ones creating the new workers for that field of work here in Atlanta. So we're all in this together. Any way that we can help one another is just going to benefit each of us as we move forward. Now, that being said, what can we do as teachers to advocate for our program? Well, I have 4 basic points that I think you can remember in how to advocate. And really, this goes for any music program in my mind, but we're going to talk about it, of course, specifically for music technology. Number 1, define yourself. Before you can go out there and talk about what it is that music technology is, what it is that your program is doing, you need to define yourself. So stakeholders need to understand what it is you do and how it relates to educating students about music. Let that sink in just a second. People need to understand why you matter, right? So many people want music technology to be considered a CTE class for career and technology education. And it certainly could be if all you ever taught was audio production. And maybe that's mostly what you focus on in your program is audio production. But I know for me that I spend a lot of time teaching students about music, especially at the beginner level. I want the students to understand how music is built on a fundamental level. Now, can my students come out of beginning music technology and play all 12 scales on, or all 12 major scales, I should say, on a piano? No, but we're not teaching them the technical proficiency of an instrument. We're more teaching them the composition skills that they might need to be able to do that. So most of the time, my beginners can really only make basic chords and melodies in the key of C when they come out. But I do teach them how to transpose and move those things to different keys and be able to create different music that way. So music technology is really one of the newest fields in music education and is largely misunderstood by a lot of people, even misunderstood by a lot of people that are in music education. And I think that's the scariest part, is that a lot of people that are inside music education uh, don't see music technology as a valid field. A lot of these people think that all music technology education is teaching kids how to put loops together and balance them out in an audio production standpoint. Now, that is certainly one way that you can do certain projects in the class, but I really hope that that's not where people stop, because you really haven't gotten to the heart of music education at that point. My class is structured, and we've talked about this in some of the other sessions, with everything we do explores, especially at the beginning level, the 5 elements of music. We talk about rhythm, we talk about melody, we talk about harmony, talk about form, and we talk about expression. And everything about that goes into helping these students understand how to create from scratch music that has these 5 elements and is interesting. If it doesn't have these 5 elements, really probably not very interesting. I really think it's important that you share what it is that you're actually doing. So if I talk to another music educator, um, like a band teacher, a chorus teacher, or an orchestra teacher, I want to make sure that they understand that I'm not just helping kids make rap music. I'm not just letting them make loops and put rap tunes over it. Though that happens on occasion, it's not the fundamental goal of what I'm doing. If my students are building a rap song, I want them to understand how to build the actual beat from scratch. How do they get the drums to be in there? Does the hip hop rap genre form drums? What are the rhythms that they employ? What are all these things like? I want my kids to have a true understanding of the fundamentals of those concepts, not just, hey, I'm gonna slap a loop down and throw some lyrics over top of it. So it's really dangerous that some of our music education teachers may actually be working against music advocacy by throwing off on the education that we provide our students about music. I know a lot of students that come into my music tech program. I would say a good 85 to 90% of them are not students who currently take a music education class. These aren't your band, orchestra, and chorus kids, and it probably won't be that way at your school either. I think you'll find that the students that join your program are the students who have never had the opportunity to engage in music making before. For the most part, these are the students that join my program. They're blown away by how fast they can get started making their own music. So I kind of have this idea in mind when I think about my class and I share information about class. What do we do as music technicians? I have to ask myself this all the time. What is it that we do? We teach kids to compose, arrange, sequence, and record music using the computer as their instrument. Again, we're teaching composing, arranging, sequencing, and recording of music using the computer as their instrument to be able to do so. Now, just like you would have technical skills if you were learning to be a performer on the saxophone, you've got to have technical skills to learn how to be a performer on the computer. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about keyboard skills, because you can edit all the information in the computer later, but you need the technical computer skills to be able to manipulate audio and do the right things with your computer. You have to be able to control the tone of synthesizers. You have to be able to use mix engineer techniques to get a nice blend and balance in your song. All the concepts that go into teaching a band, chorus, orchestra class are still concepts that you should be applying to teaching music technology. You're just applying it in a different way. So think of it as the computer being their instrument, and you're teaching them the music skills. So, number two in our advocacy strategy is hone your own craft. I have never been formally trained as an audio engineer in any way. Never happened. Didn't receive any of that in my undergraduate, didn't receive any of that in my uh, graduate degrees, but I have been trained in how to teach students about music. I have had a few student teachers recently that have actually done their student teaching in music technology class. And some of them have actually been student teachers who are seeking to be in the elementary music field. And at first I was really weirded out. Like, why is this person coming to like spend all this time with me in high school music tech if they want to be in elementary music? I don't get it. Well, what I found out is that really the ideas that you're teaching about music are very, very similar, right? So the things that you're teaching the fundamentals for in elementary music are still the concepts that I'm teaching to these students who have never had any in-depth upper level music discussion. Now, everything that you might teach to an elementary school student might be covered in a much shorter amount of time because the students can perceive those topics faster and they've had a lot more experience with their own music at that point. And that's really one reason that I like to focus my teaching on a questioning perspective, because these students have learned this in elementary school typically. I just want them to make connections between what they learned in elementary school and their own music that they listen to, or music that's radio ready, a little more accessible for them maybe than a Beethoven symphony for sure. But if they can make those connections, then they're doing good. But what does that have to do with hone your craft? I say this because if you're going to be a music technology teacher, you need to be finding ways to learn more about music technology. And there are so many ways out there now. Um, First off, always the go to for teachers, right? Find a good book. There are so many great books out there that can be valuable to your knowledge as an audio engineer. Get out there, look on Amazon, find a book that relates to what you're doing, and just learn more about the topic. I know all along I'm having to research not how do I teach a kid a major scale, but how do I properly use equalizing and compressing to get a mix that sounds radio ready? Well, that's tone, balance, blend. Those are definitely musical concepts. They're just technical skills that are needed to teach those musical concepts. Well, I want to understand those skills better, so I'm seeking out books by people. And right now, man, the world of music technology is being widely covered on YouTube. So just be diligent about watching the video and analyzing the source to see if it's valuable or not. There are great resources out there. Matter of fact, there is a teaching academy here in Georgia called Tweed Recording Academy, and they have actually curated a series of YouTube playlists that have tons of highly beneficial videos about audio engineering techniques and audio engineering techniques of all types. So they've already done the analyzing the value of the resource there, and you can actually get a hold of some of their curated playlists. It's quite beneficial. So check out YouTube, find some people that are out there that are sharing the information that you want. Music Tech Help Guy, that's one that comes to mind. All sorts of different people. So in addition to that, you're part of a social media group because you're here in the Georgia community. Rely on us. We are a group of audio engineers. We may not have all the skills, but maybe someone has seen the information that you need to be better at what you're looking to be good at. So use this like a social media group. In addition, Facebook is loaded with people that want to share information, right? So get out there. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Yeah, you'll probably get some people on social media that are like, what a noob. I can't believe you would ask that question. But if you have the question and you need the answer, what a great place to find it. So get out there, find those social media groups that are active and sharing information, and jump in and be part of it. Specifically, you might want to look for a social media group that features the software you use in class. So if you're using Logic, find a Logic group. If you're using Ableton, find an Ableton group. If you're using FL or Soundtrap or BandLab or whatever it is, find the group that fits your software and jump in and learn from them. Finally, your students are one of the best resources that you can learn from. I know a few years ago when I started teaching this for the first time, I would always have students come up and be like, I really want this to be able to, you fill in the blank. And I'd be like, I have no clue. So here, tonight, I'm going to try to find the answer. You try to find the answer on YouTube. Let's compare notes tomorrow and see if we can't make this happen. 9 times out of 10, we nailed it the next day. And again, 9 times out of 10, the student knew it better than I did and blew me away. And I was like, oh, that's a concept I should be teaching daily in my class. What am I thinking? Like, that needs to be happening. So, I would definitely challenge your students to find answers to their own problems, and then make sure they're sharing those answers with you and with other students. So those are great ways to learn. Number 3, be heard. Make sure that you are sharing the works of your students with the stakeholders in your community. Don't hoard music. The last step I always tell my students in the music production process is to share the music with everyone. Music is not meant to be something that you just hide away and don't expose people to. Look at how many songs are on Spotify and Apple Music right now. It's staggering how many songs there are on these platforms. You can get your kids' music out there, and you can get it out there on Spotify and Apple Music if that's what you want to do, but it's not necessarily the cheapest or the most efficient way to do it. You can find lots of services that will get your music onto Spotify and Apple Music, but social media is a huge blessing here for sharing your products. Even if it's just an 8-measure drum beat that you throw up on Instagram or Twitter, or a video of a kid laying down 16 bars of rap or something, like, get it out there. Someone's going to get hooked on your program just by seeing that, hey, that kid has the potential to make a drum beat. I think I want to do that. Boom, hooked into the program and growing. So, super cool. Get out there, share it on social media. People get hooked. Also, look into hosting an online presence for audio sharing. The most common one is probably SoundCloud, and they have a free version for sure. So get out there, share the music. You can do Spotify and Apple Music and all that kind of stuff. Number 4 is collaborate. And what do I mean by collaborate? Be willing to work with other teachers around your building to add arts or musical value to the projects in their classroom. I can't argue this point enough. Other teachers want to have music value added to their classroom. At this point in time, I've done enough collaborating at my school that I no longer have to be the one to go to teachers to seek out the collaboration opportunities. They know they can come and talk to me about ideas that they pop up with, which is saving me so much time in the long run. But if you have a news program at your school, talk to your news producer and see if you can't write the intro and the outro music and maybe like the weather music. And yeah, those may just be 15-second clips, but your students are going to see their music represented around the school. And that teacher is going to begin to talk about your program. So maybe a student that's only semi-interested in video production suddenly becomes really interested in audio production. Similar idea to math class. If you have a teacher who likes to make songs for her students to write math raps to, then hey, get together, make some beats so that they can record their songs. Make 4 or 5 different beats, and then the kids can come in and actually record their lyrics over top of the beats you made. Maybe a science teacher wants to host a podcast, and you can record the students reading the podcast and put intro music or Foley with it. Maybe, I mean, there's just tons and tons and tons of ways. Maybe you can have a student have a competition to write a piece of music for the upcoming dance show. Maybe the drama teacher needs Foley recorded. Ask your arts teachers if you can play your students' music before their concerts. Now, that's not to steal their students. In no way is that to steal their students. And that should not be the goal of you sharing it. So make sure that you talk with those arts teachers and understand, like, they understand your purpose here. Like, you just want to share your music with the community, because maybe those people that their kids are in band, chorus, orchestra, maybe their kids have friends, or they have friends within the community that want their kids to be involved in music but don't have the means to have them involved in those programs. So ask if you can just play it before the concerts. You can record auditions for your performing arts students. It's a good way to collaborate. And these are all ways that are happening within the arts, like inside the arts. If you're working with the visual arts teachers, you could have them make a song based on artwork of a student in the school, or vice versa, have the students create a piece of art based on a song that your students wrote. So that's kind of a cool collaboration piece with the visual arts. You can also collaborate outside the arts. I've already mentioned a few of these, but you could also work with the physics and engineering department. At our school, they make instruments each year. And so we actually get in and record these instruments, and sometimes we make samples of these instruments and turn them into bigger MIDI instruments, which is kind of fun. Again, the math teacher writing lyrics about how to remember a particular theorem in math class. That's something we have done at our school. Work with your morning news show, the science teacher's podcast. Ooh, help an English teacher with a slam poetry session. That can be really cool. And that can almost be like a live, like bongo playing type thing too, if you do it just right. So these are all fun ways to collaborate and get your name out there. If other teachers are talking about your program in their classroom, bingo. Their influence on the students matters. If they're saying that your class is cool, that matters. That matters. So, how to advocate for yourself. Define yourself. Know what you are. Hone your craft. Be the best you can be as your teacher, yourself. Make mixes. Do these projects. Hone your skills so that the kids know that you know what you're talking about. And the more you know about it, the more you can help them. Be heard. Get the students' music out there. Students want to see themselves becoming famous. So get out there and share them, help them to become famous, and then collaborate with other teachers in your school. These are the biggest things that I can hit on. Now, how do you engage within your community? Get your students' work outside the walls of the classroom. And this is kind of goes along with that be heard um, thing that we just talked about. If your music is going outside of the walls of your classroom, then this recruits for you in future years. You can use free services like SoundCloud. You can use YouTube, create playlists, videotape the student's work inside whatever DAW you're using, and then post that video out there and drive people to that information so they can see this hard work. And then, of course, there are services to get you on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon. Be careful of the legal challenges that might come with doing something like that. And I don't know what the legal challenges exactly are, but who owns that music? If you publish it to Spotify as your school whatever, if it goes viral and becomes really popular, who gets the money off of it? Does the student get the money? How does that work out? So just be mindful that putting it out there on Spotify, Apple Music, or Amazon probably a bit risky unless you looked into the legal side of that. So just beware. YouTube and SoundCloud may be your safer bets. This is what my SoundCloud page looks like. If you've never seen SoundCloud, I can upload full albums or tracks here, and you can track followers and how many people you're following and how many tracks you have out there. The free account does limit the hours of music that you can have on there, so that's the caveat there. But every year I just rotate the music out, so it's not a big deal for me. This is our YouTube page. I've got all sorts of stuff on there, and it's actually growing with the number of subscribers pretty quickly, so that's kind of cool. Here's an example of one of my YouTube videos. This is actually a student who did a project that is reading a monologue, and they had to create all their own music to go with it. This was a monologue that was a story about Ringo Starr, so check this out.
Ringo Starr was born in Liverpool at a very early age, and he had a hard childhood. So at some point during his difficult childhood, Ringo got a drum. And that was it. He was now a drummer. Later on, he joined a group called Roy Storm and the Hurricanes, and we saw these guys when we were out in Hamburg. We were playing out there, and Ringo was like a professional musician.
So I made that video using a piece of software called OBS, which is freeware, but there's so many things out there. Loom, Screencastify, all that kind of stuff. So you can make videos like this no problem these days. And we're probably getting pretty good at it, to tell you the truth. Finally, with community engagement, consider making your program emulate a business model. And what do I mean by that? On day one of your class, let your students know that they are all now producers under the record label that you have created. Mine just so happens to be Roaring Records. That's what we do. Set up your projects for them as jobs that they need to complete within the music industry. Frame it with that theme. It's really cool. It gives them a purpose. It lets them feel like they're part of the industry. Try to treat the students as if they have assignments that are going to make you money as a producer. It's another way to keep it interesting and real world-esque. In your assignments, word your comments in such a way that would help the students understand that that's how they would sell more music. The number one thing that comes up over and over and over and over and over in my class is that their music is too repetitive. I don't want the music to be that repetitive. Stop making it the same thing over and over and over again. So I always try to make them understand, like, hey, you've got to create something that holds the listener's attention. So if your music's boring, then you're losing that attention grabbing piece from your assignments. So think about that as a business model. Brand it. Here are the logos for my brand in class. We are Roaring Records. I put this on everything. Everything coming and going has our logo on it. I put it on the assignments that the students get. I put it on the bottom of my emails. I put it on just about everything I can to make the students feel like they're part of Roaring Records. And I think that's really, really, really valuable. To build community within the classroom, share the students' work. It shows that you have faith in them. It shows that you like it. Share the work with the students during class. Make sure that they're hearing the work of their peers. Be excited about what you teach each day. Your enthusiasm will be infectious, even if you have to fake it for a while. Show excitement for what you're doing, even if it's not your cup of tea at first. Just show that excitement. It'll get the kids more excited, and that excitement will be contagious. Within the professional community, if we're building this professional learning community, you're already on the right track by being part of this GADOE community. That's really, really, really important. So seek those members out in your community that have more knowledge than you and learn from them. And that's what we all need to be doing all the time. That is our professional development, that we are growing from those that know more than us. But along the way, don't forget to seek out those that have less knowledge than you and build them up. Share your ideas freely. Get out there and this is not a big enough concept yet that we need to be withholding any concepts from each other. We need to get the idea of music technology out there, expand it, all of those things, so that we can just grow this concept. So share your ideas out there freely. Now, where can you go to learn more from those that know more than you? Well, we have a lot of really good colleges and certificate programs in the state of Georgia that you can look to. Georgia State University has a music technology program. Georgia Tech has a music technology program. They're doing wild stuff with their music technology program. Now, when you go through their program, you may learn more about, well, you're going to learn all the music technology stuff. Don't think that I'm taking away from that. But it's the engineering kid that's like, I want to know how to make a DAW from scratch. That is the kind of stuff that they're learning there, and plus artificial intelligence and just so many things. Really cool music technology program if you didn't know that it existed at Georgia Tech. Georgia Southern has a music technology program. LaGrange does. The Audio Engineering Society actually has an institute in Atlanta where students can go to learn more about how to become an audio engineer. The Atlanta Institute of Music and Media is just outside of the Beltline in Gwinnett County. So it's a great program that students can learn and get an associate's degree in music production, or voice, or guitar, or drums, or any number of different things. I believe including lighting and video production a little bit too, but they mostly focus on music. Really cool facility. Learned a lot from those guys. And finally, Tweed Recording Academy, new program up in Athens, Georgia. Super helpful guys. Mentioned them earlier for their curated video playlists on YouTube. Seek these guys out. They are all willing to help and support, because if they support your program, their programs are only going to get better. So they've been super helpful for nurturing my professional development, for sure. Finally, some professional organizations that you might want to consider. Within the state, of course, we have the Georgia Music Educators Association. And thanks to Heath Jones and all the great work that he's done, the music technology side of GMEA has grown significantly. So if you haven't been checking out what's going on there, make sure you get in on that. That's, of course, a part of NAFME. And then there's the TIME, which is Technology for Music Education organization. I highly recommend that you join in partnership with them because they are spreading this idea very, very well. And you can learn a lot from those guys. And then there's the Audio Engineering Society, or AES. If you would like to join and become part of them, lots of professional development opportunities there. So I'd just like to thank you for joining us for this session on arts, advocacy, and community engagement here at the Georgia Department of Education Community for Music Technology. Feel free to follow the Georgia DOE at these handles that you see over here, and hope you'll come back for more later on and share your ideas in the comments and discussions below. Share some ideas that this has sparked. Anything particularly resonate with you that you think would be good at your school, and what are maybe some ideas that I missed and didn't talk about that we could share with one another. Have a great day.